And go live, go live. You are live. How about that? You are live. I'm live. You're live. We're all live. Amazing, isn't it? Although Instagram doesn't seem to think I'm quite live yet, but they'll get over it. Let's see. Scene 2. We need to switch some things here. Browse. Since nobody's here yet, I'm just going to babble for a couple seconds to myself, and you'll all be la 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 la. Now, I don't know what's wrong there. Browse. Okay. This is where I told it to store it. I wonder where it went. 29. No, that's the one there. Let's see if it went to week 30. No. Huh. Wonder if it ever finished. Live feeds, week 29. Okay. Now, here we are. We didn't actually save it. So we'll get there. We will get there. Trust me, we will get there. None of y'all are here yet. Instagram doesn't even know I'm alive. Oh, I see. I got to start up Instagram over here. They changed the rules on me. Okay. So now I can finish the export, and then I'll be able to do what y'all asked me to do, which is a little bit of everything. So here we are. I believe I mentioned already that we are live. Okay. And that being true, all right, then I get to say anything I want. That's just the rules of being live. There we go. We've got him. Okay. Stop that there. That's not right. That's still last week's video. Browse. New video. MP4. Huh. That's not the one I would expect. Well, we'll go back over here. See what he has to say for himself. Oh, he's still building it. All right. So, we'll come back to me. Hi, me. And now Instagram should be running and life should be good. Come on, show me that my Instagram is running. There I am. Join myself live. How about that? All right. You may be wondering what's happening here. Well, what's happening here is that I'm Ron. I'm Ron from Ron Alcott Photography. In fact, that would make me Ron Alcott from Ron Alcott Photography. But you don't know that. Well, you do now because I just told you. I'm Ron from Ron Alcott Photography. We are here tonight doing a live virtual home art gallery show. And rather than just show you again the pictures that I have in boxes in the other room, I asked people what they wanted me to do today. And the number one choice was that people wanted me to show new works. So we will show some new works and talk about them a little bit. Also going to talk about my drawing. Okay. The drawing for March is this beautiful springy looking print called A Wall of Green. It's just called Wall of Green. I made up the part. It's Wall of Green. You can go to that website, ronalcottphotography.com, and you will have a chance there to sign up to win that on April 1st. Free of charge. Everything is shipped free of charge. It's signed. It's dedicated. It's everything you could expect from winning a fine art picture. Because that's what you would be doing. You'd be winning a fine art picture. It doesn't cost you any shipping. It doesn't cost, it's winning. People seem to have like put all these conditions on winning that I don't understand. So we're going to do a couple of things. We told you about the drawing, some things that I suggested that people might want to hear about. That I'm going to do anyway, even though nobody voted for them. I wanted to show you some of my new camera gear. This little thing is what's called a Nifty 50. It's a 50 millimeter prime lens, f1.8. Okay. What that means is it doesn't zoom in and out. It's always the same focal length. That's what prime means. And f1.8 means that the aperture gets really big, which, if you remember from Sunday Morning Live with Ron, where we've talked about the exposure triangle, a big aperture will allow me to get really soft backgrounds. And I don't have any good, well, I may have some good examples of that in the pictures I'm showing in a minute. But I wanted you to see that. And I wanted you to be duly impressed with my 70 to 200 millimeter f2.8. Now, this is big and expensive. First off, it's a Sony lens, okay? So whenever you buy the manufacturer's lenses, they're big and expensive. It weighs more than my entire camera kit weighed up to this point, including the tripod. But what it does is it gives me zoom capability with still keeping an f2.8, which for zoom, f2.8 is a pretty good aperture. So I can get some softness and get some focal length on that. And it's impressive. I look like a big professional photographer. I took it on a portrait shoot, headshot shoot this past weekend, and the only problem I had was that I think it scares people. They stood much further away from me than they needed to be. But be that as it may, what do you say we look at some pictures? I wanted to show you that's the new parts of my gear. I've got a bunch of new stuff that hooks up to my computer that I'm using for storage and things. As I move into portraits as well as landscapes. I'll still be doing landscapes. You'll see some of that in a minute. But let's move into some new pictures, shall we? All righty. So the first one, most of these don't have names yet, all right? But I'll tell you about where they are and why I took them. This is related to a piece that is on the site already called Why the Tree Glows. This was from a night at the end of January when I was in Golden Gate Park on a class from San Francisco Photography Group. Good people. They're doing another class this Saturday on street photography, Union Square in San Francisco. If you're in the area and want to learn more about street photography, I recommend it highly. It's the same instructor that I saw before when I took these pictures. So I'm looking forward to it if we get enough people to actually do it. It's been a problem here with COVID, even though we're starting to come out of it a little bit, is that people are still not enthusiastic about going out and joining live classes yet. So I hope we get enough people to do this thing on Saturday morning. If not, I'll probably go into San Francisco and do some more myself. We had Mushrooms Me join briefly on Instagram. We've had people flash in and out on Facebook, but not long enough to even acknowledge them yet. But that's good because it means I get to talk to myself. And I have no expectations of myself. So I could say almost anything. This is taken at that same art installation. It's a light installation. Peacock Meadow in Golden Gate Park in San Francisco. I believe it is still there. I haven't checked on it. But what it is all these electrified, like fake trees and fake shrubs that have these cubes of light on them that keep changing colors constantly. And it's really quite fascinating. It was hard to remember to take pictures. It's called Illuminati, I believe. I'll have to look it up again. But this was shot there, as I said, at the end of January. It had been raining. Normally, you're allowed to get out amongst these light installations and walk around them. We could only walk around the outside because it had been raining and it was muddy. And they didn't want to ruin the whole meadow that they'd spent 150 years growing. So, again, no name, but this is from Light Exhibit in San Francisco. This next one, again, no name. I'll have to look up what the real name of this flower is. I call them red hot pokers or red hot firecrackers. This was taken in downtown Concord at Todos Santos Plaza. I had been cooped up for a while with rain and just generally hiding because infection rates were high. And finally, one fine, lovely Sunday afternoon, what was my excuse? Oh, I had to go drop some art pieces off. I have some pieces at a show in a local gallery here in Concord. Had to drop those off on a Sunday. So while I was out, I went down to Todos Santos and I took a bunch of pictures. So this is one of those. Just a lovely red plant against a yellow wall that I thought was pretty. Again, these are all pretty new. I developed most of these this morning, so they don't have names yet. From the same day, back out on the main street, somebody bashed or tried to bash in somebody's window. Just made a very, very interesting cracking pattern. So I got a picture of it. This is right on the backside of Todos Santos, back behind the clock. If you've ever been there, sort of the stage side. This is another one from the courtyard. There's a courtyard inside there, in behind the clock. Welcome whoever is joined on Facebook. Glad to see you. And this one, I just liked the arch. There's actually below this, there's a walkway that goes off and I think out to the other street. But I just liked this arch and the way that they had somewhat kept the vines from growing over it, but the vines were growing solidly up above the arch. So it was just really pretty. Again, in the courtyard of Todos Santos Plaza. The next one is a kumquat. The major reason that I have a picture of a kumquat is is just a fun word to say. If you're ever at a loss of something to say, just pop out a kumquat and people will pay attention. If you just look at somebody and say kumquat, they will pay attention. Now they may start reaching for their phone and trying to dial for help, but they will pay attention. This is still that same day at Todos Santos. Some of the planters along the street out there have kumquats, and this one was growing very, very nicely. So he got his picture took. So there, Mr. Kumquat, dare you to try it again. This one, I went on another class. This was a landscape photography class, which was just me and my instructor, but they decided to hold it anyway because they had canceled the class once. We went on a hike to Castle Rock in Walnut Creek along Castle Rock Trail, which was an interesting place. I did not know was there. I don't have any of them today, but I will have pictures of the actual Castle Rock. Once you hike a couple of miles up in there, there's this really big outcropping that was really quite fascinating. It had a lot of peregrine falcons that evidently nest up in there. They also are very, very good at knowing when you're trying to take their picture and hiding. But this was a single tree along the way with this marvelous little S-curve of a rill running up to it. So I got this picture along Castle Rock Trail. We're going to see a few of them that I got along that trail. This was another one. This was looking across the valley that we were in and up the hill. I just really liked this tree standing by itself and then this singular big cloud up in the sky. I couldn't decide really what was the subject, whether it was the tree or the cloud. The cloud's definitely bigger, perhaps a bit brighter, but it almost stands to focus you on the tree, which I don't quite understand the optics of yet. I have enhanced this one in post a little bit to bring your eye to the tree, but I don't quite understand how that cloud hovering above really brings attention to the tree. And something I'd like to understand to be able to use that effect again, but I don't understand it. I'm so lost, I don't understand. Doesn't matter. It's pretty. This was another attempt to lead your eye. I will leave it up to you to decide what it is that is the center of attention in that picture. Even if you don't find a center of attention, it is an interesting picture. I believe this is a live oak. It could be a black oak, but I think it's a live oak. And the lower part of the trail, you go through several stands of these oak trees. And this one, I'll give you a hint, has a birdhouse in it, which I thought was really quite fascinating. So let me know how I did on getting your eye to lead up and see that birdhouse, because I'm not sure I've got it yet as I look at it smaller on my screen. When I develop these things, I develop them like full screen on a 32-inch monitor. From the same hike, again, a little bit of eye trickery. When I looked down this path, and I was down low because I was out of breath and sitting on a rock directly behind what you see here. I noticed this little wash where the water has run down through there. And it runs through the shade and on out, down, and rejoins. There's another little creek at the bottom there. But I just thought it was interesting to try to get that low shot and try to bring attention to that wash of water. Again, just something in the landscape that my eye sees that you wouldn't necessarily see if you just snapped the picture. I know, because I snapped the picture. I had to work pretty hard to get that little wash that caught my eye to be the center of attention. I'm not sure how well I succeeded, but I did it anyway. From the same hike, as you go around a turn, in a minute, I'll be walking right behind that rock. But as you come around a turn, there's this big solitary rock with a nice path that sort of leads up to it. It actually leads past it, but I made it look like it leads up to it. And I got a few pictures of that rock. I got that one. Got this one a little bit closer with some people in the background. And then I got one where I was practicing the technique of using a foreground object to help me put the background object in perspective. And again, sort of enhancing the path leading from the foreground object over to the background object. So there. So I took quite a few pictures, and only these 3 came out the way I wanted them to. They all came out. None of them are like spoiled pictures like you used to get with film. Just past there a little bit, there was this outcropping. Interesting combination of water carved, wind carved, and tree root carved outcropping. And I was able to get low and shoot up at it and catch some of that beautiful, beautiful blue sky that we had that day. That is not an enhanced sky. In fact, that sky is toned down a little bit. It was so blue, even I didn't believe it. And I was there and saw it. So welcome on Facebook or YouTube. Ooh, we got 2 people. Wow, life is looking up. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Say hello. We're glad to see you. We have somebody on Instagram whose name I will not repeat. But it's a very clever name. Welcome. And if you're watching on Facebook or YouTube, feel free to comment, say hi, ask any questions that you have. Again, none of these have any titles yet, have any names yet. These are just works in progress. Some of the new work, from some of my latest shoots, including fully undeveloped images, but they came out pretty well, that I took this past Saturday. Now, I've mentioned that I am working on gaining skills as a portrait photographer. And as part of that, I'm doing some portrait shooting in the park. And one of my appointments did not show up. So I said, well, I'm still a landscape and nature photographer. And look, there's these geese just parading around on the hill over here. And I had that nice big new zoom lens. So I zoomed right in on them. And these are uncropped, untouched straight out of the camera. So that's why they look kind of flatter than the previous pictures. But I got some good pictures of the geese as they were feeding along the hill. I actually shoot under these pepper trees, which caused me problems at one point because the breeze shifted and I found my subject was fine, but I was actually in a pepper tree and it was trying to make me sneeze. So I had to move my camera. But as I was setting up a shot, I noticed a couple of these pictures of just the branches dangling against the background. I also put these in so that you could sort of see how that constant f2.8, because these were zoomed in all the way to 200. And with the f2.8, it still gives me a very compressed but blurry background. Bokeh or bokeh or bokeh, depending on how you pronounce it. And then some geese, some ducks wandered over to see what I was doing too. I was a bit of a rock star with the waterfowl that day. They like to come over and see what I'm doing. As I was setting up, there actually was a white egret who just stood there for probably 10 minutes and watched me set everything up and get my camera turned around and start trying to find him in my camera. And as soon as I was about ready to take a picture of him, he flew away after 10 minutes. It's when I stopped moving that he flew away. He made me mad, in fact, in case you couldn't tell. So those are some about 25 of the new pictures that I have in the works. Not all of them will make it through the cut to make it to my website, but many of them will. I hope that you enjoy them. Again, be sure that you get into the drawing for Wall of Green, which is our March giveaway. Wall of green, swinging in the tree. It's a nice picture. It's a nice picture for springtime, particularly, because it's got all that beautiful, beautiful green and flowers and everything all over it. So go to the website. Go to ronalcottphotography.com and sign up there for the free drawing. If you are in the Bay Area and interested in getting a free headshot, hit me up on DM. I will get you set up. I will be doing some again this weekend, Saturday evening this time, afternoon and evening. Then not Easter weekend, but probably the weekend after that, I will be again. So all of that's on deck. This Sunday is Sunday Morning Live with Ron, where we will choose exactly which pictures are going to make it onto the gallery for the next 2 weeks. And we'll give a photography lesson. We're working on composition tips right now. We've done 7 out of 20 that we have in this one article. So we're going to do those. We'll do 2 more, do number 8 and number 9 this week. That's Sunday morning, 8:30 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. So that's like 11:30 on the East Coast. You have no excuse. I'll be up. I'll be there. And unlike last time, I will be ready. Last time I was feeling the effects of my COVID vaccine, so I wasn't very energetic. I apologize for that show. It was not my best. But everyone is not my best. I mean, obviously, one of them is going to be my best, but Every one of them's not my best. I still got better ones in me. So just keep watching. It'll get better. Fingers crossed. That's coming up this Sunday. We're not that far away. We're only 9 days away from the end of the month, so be sure you get in on the drawing. And we're doing a flash sale starting right this instant. Okay. If you use the code LiveFlash on the website, you will get 20% off. But that is only until Wednesday night. All right. So this is a flash sale. It's only for a couple of days. That's what flash means. It starts and it ends and it's over in a flash. So just a couple of days, you get 20% off. Of course, if you get the newsletter and you read the newsletter, you will know a secret about discount codes. So be sure that you read your newsletter all the way through. It's important for you and it's important for me. Get on the email list, get on the YouTube list. I'm very, very thankful that I actually had some people sign up and join me on my YouTube list. So I only need 97 more people to go before I claim my own name. That means I have 3. YouTube likes you to have like 10,000 hours and over 1,000 views and over 500 followers before you can monetize anything on YouTube. But that's just YouTube. What you gonna do? It's their ball. It's their rules. What you gonna do? Ha! So I showed you some camera gear. I showed you some pictures. The only thing that I haven't done is to share with you the all-important, where did he go? Dad jokes. Are you ready for some dad jokes? What, you may ask, is a dad joke? Well, you might ask that if you've been living under a rock. Okay. Dad jokes and dadisms are a current fun term for that stuff that stupid jokes that your father always told you. My father was the king of them. Okay. My father, we used to have to put the garbage out every single Monday morning before school. The garbage had to go to the end of my quarter-mile long driveway. And it was my job to gather all of the trash cans from inside the house. So I was woken up every Monday morning with my father dancing around like a maniac, telling me that it's Yippee-Yahooty Day. Mondays were Yippee-Yahooty Day because Yippee-Yahooty, we got to take out the trash. Yay! That's a dad joke. There are lots of dad jokes. Let me share some that I found. Okay. Things like, well, I used to be addicted to the hokey pokey, but then I turned myself around. Or, I was wondering why this frisbee kept getting bigger and bigger, and then it hit me. Or, why did the Scarecrow win an award? Because he was outstanding in his field. You will notice something subtle here, that there is very little difference between a dad joke and a 5-year-old joke, except that dad knows why the joke works and the 5-year-old doesn't. but they're really just the same jokes. So those are the dad jokes I promised you. You got your own dad jokes today. We got some pictures in. We told you about Sunday Morning Live with Ron coming up at 8:30 this Sunday morning, Pacific Standard Time. We told you to get in on the drawing. We told you about the flash sale. If you use that code right there on your screen, Live Flash, to get 20% off anything that you order on the store, but only until Wednesday night. So order now so you don't forget. We told you about all that stuff. So now you know everything that I know. And I can forget it, all right? Because I told you I don't have to remember anymore. You know what, people? You be good to yourself. Be kind to other people and become the person that you would like to meet. Peace out.